It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Yeah, no fear, but doesn't mean we have complete understanding. A lot of times, if you understand something, you're less likely to fear it. Well, I'm afraid, because I don't understand something. Well, that's what Charles Goyette is here. Mr. Charles Goyette, welcome to the... Go ahead and hit the button, Mr. Charles. Here we go. Charles, welcome, man. It's always good to have you here. I know we're going to learn something today.
Ernest, it's great to see you. It's great to see Sierra, too.
Limited time.
Do you guys talk about Sierra on the air? Do the listeners know who she is?
Oh yeah, she never comes on. So say hi, Sierra.
Hi, Sierra.
Yeah, no, she's leaving. Well, Gwen Tremick is being trained.
I know Gwen. Gwen is going to be wonderful.
Yeah, no, Gwen. She's a good choice. And
yeah,
but she got pregnant.
Yeah.
So that means she's only good till the end of the year.
Oh.
So she's once you have babies and
oh, I know the baby
else
comes in, the talk show goes out.
That's right. So
right.
So it's give me a kind of a segue into doing something else. But Sierra's getting her trained and she's really good about making lists and so on. So it looks like Gwen's picking up pretty good. Now I tell you what I want to get to right away is I had a question yesterday, and I sent it out, and I haven't gotten an answer back from anybody I think that should know, and I'm hoping you know. Bloomberg had a story. It says, Swiss ponder battle over runaway franc.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, there's a couple of questions. I scanned over it, and there's a couple of things that come to mind. One, since when does the Swiss care about whatever's going on in Europe? I thought they were separate from it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I read that they kind of somehow, at some time, for some reason, tied the value of the franc to the German mark or something. Then they got problems because our currency is worth too much. Everybody else is going to crap. Everybody's flooding into the Swiss franc, and they're going, well, and I'm wondering, it seemed like propaganda. It seems like there was some manipulation.
No, it's really real. It's really real.
Well, tell me what's going on.
Okay, here's the deal. There is a little country in the middle of Europe that hasn't been involved in any wars since the time of Napoleon, right? And they're a prosperous country. They have an employment rate. Think about this. They have an unemployment rate of 0. I mean, this is a prosperous country. Switzerland just goes and gets it. So this is a prosperous little country stuck right there in the middle of Europe, and they're surrounded everywhere you go, to the north of them, to the south of them, east of them, and west of them, too. It's all the euro, this phony, fraudulent currency that's in the news so much, that is overextended, that is a printing press currency like all the other currencies, and there's the Swiss franc right in the middle of this. And so people realize what a debacle, what a disaster the money printing euro is. In Switzerland, what do they want? They don't want to hold euros, they want to hold Swiss francs. So you go into the money markets to buy Swiss francs. Everybody wants to buy Swiss francs. What happens? Everybody wants to buy something. The price goes up. So the exchange rate on the Swiss franc is really, really high. It's like a refuge. People want to own this. People in Europe would rather own the Swiss franc than own the euro. So the price gets bid on the foreign exchange markets, the Swiss franc, higher and higher and higher. The value of it's more expensive. So when you go to France and you get a hotel room, and it's let's say it's 200 euros for the hotel room. That's a pretty nice room. But if it's Swiss francs, if it's in Switzerland, the same hotel room is 200 Swiss francs, but the Swiss franc is 20 or 30% higher than the euro. In other words, it's gone up, the euro has gone down. So everything in Switzerland costs a lot more money. To the Swiss, it doesn't. Your paycheck's the same. You got a paycheck. But when the Swiss make things and they want to sell them to other people in Europe or around the world, they make chocolate. They make cuckoo clocks. They don't, okay, they make fine wristwatch. Whatever they make a lot of really good high-tech stuff. They make pharmaceuticals. They make medical equipment. When they make stuff, they sell it to people around the world. It costs an arm and a leg. It's just really, really expensive because the Swiss franc, they price it at 100 Swiss francs. Swiss francs really, really dear. The price on Swiss stuff is high, and so people are buyers in the international commodities markets and goods markets are backing away from buying things in the Swiss franc. It's too expensive. So the Swiss franc is doing what all the countries of the world are doing. They're thinking, well, we're going to have to drop the value of our currency, cheapen our currency. They're going to print money. It's already virtually decided. They're printing money. Just like, the euro is a printed money and they're going to print more. The United States printing money. Japan's printing money. China's printing money. Everybody's printing money to make their currencies cheaper so that, people want to buy stuff from their manufacturers and it'll be cheap. Well, they can't all be the cheapest currency in the world. But for for Switzerland to play that game too, that means that Switzerland is going to print money. It's not a good thing.
Okay, let's go ahead and get some geography here. You have Switzerland is at the top of Italy. It's only about, I guess, like 150 miles, length and 100 miles high or something. It's not really big. It'd be like quarter the size of Arizona or something.
Right, very small.
So I'm looking at that, and at the map you have France to the west.
Right.
You have Germany to the north.
Right.
Austria right below Germany there, and Italy to the south.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's right in the middle.
It's right in the middle. And and their currency, Swiss currency, has all of those languages on it. It has Italian and German and French, and the people in the country, for the most part, speak all of those languages. I guess German is the Schweizdeutsch, Swiss German. German's probably the official language, but they're all official languages there. People speak all of those
when you
languages.
look at this, you look at World War II, and you go, how the heck did they stay out of it,
Yeah.
And it goes back to, Hitler's going, yeah, all those guys with machine guns, that get messy.
Hey,
So-
it was steep. It was all steep mountain roads to get up there, and the Swiss are all armed. It's kind of the law. Every man in Switzerland is part of the the militia and has to hold has government rifles and ready to be called out at any time. And the value of going in and invading Switzerland is for what? What would they get out of it? They get a strategic position. They already occupied. They already occupied Italy. They already occupied France. They already Austria had been swallowed up by Hitler already. So what was there? And now here's something for the conspiratorialist in you.
Yeah, they needed a home base.
Well, during all the war, the warring governments of the world would get together at the Bank for International Settlements in Basel and settle up accounts. You got
to have home base. You got to have neutral territory.
There you go.
It's like when you're playing Axis and Allies, the game. It's like Switzerland. It's neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah, penalties if you invade.
But it's very sad. It's very sad to think that Switzerland's going along with this. This is really the good news. I did a radio interview back east, and by the time I got done talking about the economy, the host and the co-host were just like drained, Ernie. I felt like I was like an energy vampire, because it was like, and I'm popping illusions and shattering myths and stuff about the economy, and they go, oh, and at the end of the interview, they go, do you have any good news you could give us? And I go, yeah, for one little piece of good news. Oh, okay, what is it? I said, well, there's a populist movement in Switzerland to restore the gold standard there. I think that's pretty good news. They go, oh, thanks.
Well, let's talk about how that went. That's a good thing to come back from the break, because I want to understand what's happening to Switzerland is that they have had much better monetary policy and they're a victim of it.
Yeah, but they've screwed up their monetary policy too.
They're going to be linking up to the German or the Euro or anything.
Yeah.
They got problems right there. So they were being targeted by the political boys up top.
They had a statutory backing of gold. They had, I think it was a 40% backing. Their currency was you couldn't take a Swiss franc into the Swiss National Bank and exchange it for gold. But at least there was some sort of limit on how much paper they issued until I think it was about 2000, and they abandoned that. Bad move by Switzerland.
Oh, so they can just print more. They want to devalue the Swiss franc. They, in their minds, need to. Or they could go back to gold. What would happen then? Well, we'll talk about it with Charles Goyette, author of The Dollar Meltdown. We come back on Declare Your Independence in just a little bit.